Hello, in today's video, continue to read the book The Cashflow Quadrant by Robert Kiyosaki, video number 88. And in this one, Robert Kiyosaki is saying, build businesses by real estate. That's the message. Please join me. Hello, welcome to Take a Step to a Better You. If you're returning, I appreciate you very much. I keep thanking you in every video. But if you are new, welcome. My name is Sherifa, Nakalema, business owner here in Virginia, USA. And I'll show you what I do. I'm here daily. On Monday, I share YouTube tips. On Tuesday and Wednesday, I do money tips, business tips. And that's a day like this one. We are using the book, The Cashflow Quadrant by Robert Kiyosaki. And on Thursday, I like to drive just to show you Virginia, USA, different places. Or sometimes I interview someone. Then Friday, we are live. And anything I do here on my live, I call it, we have to take a step to make our life better. It could be success habits, it could be something. It will be, and very, you all participate. So it's very, very interesting. Then on Saturdays, I'm Man Online, affiliate marketing, and Sundays, motivational day. But time has changed. As I'm recording this one, it's November 2021 in Virginia. We just changed the time in USA. So the schedule is showing 9:30 a.m. USA Eastern time for 6 days, up to Monday to Saturday, and then Sunday saying 1:30 p.m. for motivation. But I think Saturday and Sunday, we'll see that I'm changing a few things. I may come. Most people, I post something, I say, you know what, we're going to do it a little bit later or earlier, depending on what's going on, because some people are like waiting for the videos. So I say, okay, let's watch this one sooner. I haven't decided how those 2 days will be, Saturday and Sunday. The live, I could move it, and the motivation, I could change it from 1:30 to maybe 12:30 to accommodate countries, okay? So that's my schedule. If any of that sounds interesting, please consider subscribing and clicking on the bell so you know YouTube notifies you when I have new videos. Now, on new content, today, we continue the book. And this book is called The Cashflow Quadrant. Why? Because Robert is explaining how money comes to us. And they have this term that started with his rich dad about the quadrant. So the quadrant shows that on the left side, we have the E and S. E stands for an employee. So that means your money comes to you as an employee. Or S, it comes to you as a self-employed person or small business owner. Then on the right, it's getting good. You are getting money as a business owner, a large business owner, or as an investor. It could be a combination. But where you get the most money, that's your quadrant. And it's important because he's giving us all the advantages and disadvantages, especially of the left side. So my intention for reading this is to show you the advantages on the right. Then maybe you can work hard and get yourself on the right side. Okay. Now, the book you can get, audio is free on Amazon Audible, link in the description. Physical book, you can buy from Amazon.com, link in description. And if you just want to enjoy them, like watching me read, then you go to a playlist and it has all of them, starting from number 1. This one is number 88. So you just click on the pinned comment, or when you go to the comments, the top comments, my comment, you have the link taking to starting from number 1, or in the description again, you find that link. Okay, now time to read. Remember, it says the message today is build businesses and buy real estate. So let's see. And today, by the way, this video is ending this one is ending, that's 88. We are ending part 2 of this book, and next video we'll start part 3. So I have to read until I finish it. Okay, a sub-headline: build businesses and buy real estate. Robert is writing, in 1943, the United States began taxing all working Americans via payroll deductions. You know how you get a paycheck and they cut off some, almost like 50% is gone before you even get money? Yeah. In other words, the government got paid before people in the E quadrant, that's the employees, got paid. Anyone who was purely an E, that means you are purely an employee, had little escape from the government. It also meant that instead of only the rich being taxed, which was the hope of the 16th Amendment, every E and S got taxed too. E meaning employee and self-employed, rich or poor. Today, the lower wage earners in America pay more in taxes as a percentage of total income than the rich and middle class. In 1996, the Tax Reform Act went after the highly paid professionals in the S quadrant, self-employed. This act specifically targeted doctors, lawyers, architects, dentists, engineers, and other professionals, and made it difficult, if not impossible, for them to shelter their income by way of that the rich can do in the B and I quadrants. These professionals were forced to operate their businesses through S corporations. We talked about that in the previous video. Instead of C corporations. So they were operating and they're forced to operate their businesses through S corporations instead of C corporations. I've been explaining the difference between those two in previous videos. Or else pay a tax penalty. The rich do not pay this penalty. Income for these highly compensated professionals is then passed through the S corporation and taxed at the higher individual tax rate possible. They do not have the opportunity to shelter their income through deductions allowed for C corporations. At the same time, the law was changed to force all S corporations to have a calendar year end. This again forced all income to be taxed at the highest rate. When I discussed these changes with my CPA, he reminded me that the biggest shock to newly self-employed people generally comes at the end of their first business year, when they realize that the highest tax they are paying is the self-employment tax. This tax is double for S's and self-employed over what they pay as employees, as E's or employees. And it's calculated based on income before the individual can deduct any itemized deduction or personal exemptions. It is possible for a self-employed person to have no taxable income, yet still owe self-employment tax. Corporations, on the other hand, do not pay self-employment tax. In the 1986 Reform Act also effectively pushed the E's, employees, and S's of America out of real estate as an investment and into paper assets such as stocks and mutual funds. We did this, he described all this, how it happened. People used to shelter, they used to buy properties just to make losses, and that's why this law was passed. One, losses to decrease their taxes. For those of you who have been watching, you know we discussed that. Once the downsizing began, millions not only felt less secure about their job, they also felt less secure about their retirement, simply because their future financial well-being was based upon paper assets subject to the ups and downs of the market. Hopefully this is not going to bore you, but we were finishing this whole section. The 1986 Tax Reform Act also appears to have had the intention of shutting down the smaller community banks in America and shifting all banking to large national banks. I suspect that this was done so America could compete with the large banks of Germany and Japan. If that was the intent, it was successful. Today in America, banking is less personal and purely by numbers. The net result is that it's harder for certain classes of people to qualify for home loans. Instead of a small town banker knowing you personally, a central computer spits your name out if you don't meet its impersonal qualification requirements. After the 1986 Tax Reform Act, the rich continued to earn more, work less, pay less in taxes, and enjoy great asset protection by using the formula by Rich Dad by using the formula my rich dad gave me years earlier, which was build a business and buy real estate. The idea was to make a lot of money via C corporation and shelter the income through real estate. While millions upon millions of Americans work, pay more and more in taxes, and then pour billions each month into mutual funds, the rich are quietly selling shares of their C corporations, making them even richer, and then buying billions in investment real estate. A share of a C corporation allows the buyer to share in the risks of owning the company. A share of stock does not allow the shareholder the advantages that owning a C corporation and investing in real estate offer. Why did my rich dad recommend building businesses in C corporations and then buying real estate? Because the tax laws reward the people who operate that way. But this subject is beyond the scope of this book. Just remember the words immensely wealthy people such as Ray Kroc, founder of McDonald's. Okay, I'm going to read this again. Just remember the words of immensely wealthy people such as Ray Kroc, founder of McDonald's. And this is a quote. It's a statement made by Ray. He said, "My business is not hamburgers. My business is real estate." For those of you who have watched me read these books, you found that before. And she says, "Oh, remember the words of my rich dad who drummed into my head, build businesses and buy real estate." So they put their money in real estate. Okay, in other words, I needed to seek my fortune on the right side of the Cashflow Quadrant to take full advantage of the tax laws. In 1990, President George H.W. Bush raised taxes after promising, read my lips, no new taxes. In 1992, President Bill Clinton signed into law one of the largest tax increases in recent history. Tax increases continue into the 21st century. Again, these tax increases affect the E's and the S's, but the B's and the I's are, for the most part, not affected. I'm using letters. He's using letters for the quadrant. As this is the last paragraph, but has a little 3 points also at the end. As we progress further and further into the information age, we all need to continue to gather information from different quadrants. In the information age, quality information is our most important asset. As Eric Hoffer once said, in times of change, learners inherit the earth and the land find themselves beautifully equipped to deal with the world that no longer exists. I'm going to read that again. Hopefully you understand this better than me. He said, as Rick Hoffer once said, in times of change, learners inherit the earth, while the land, the learners and the land find land, I mean from the word land, L-E-A-R-N-E-D, land, find themselves beautifully equipped to deal with a world that no longer exists. Do you get that? Put that in the comment if you understand what he means. Remember, this is the summary, by the way, and it's the end of the part 2 of this book, like he's closing it. He said, remember, everyone's financial situation is different. That's why I always recommend the following. Now, for those of you who come on Friday, he recommends the following. Number 1, seek out the best professional and financial advice you can find. Number 2, remember that there are different advisors for the rich, the poor, and the middle class, just as there are different advisors for people who earn their money on the right side and on the left. Also, consider seeking advice from people who are already where you want to go. Number 3, never do business or investing for tax reasons. A tax break is an extra bonus for doing things the way the government wants. It should be a bonus, not the reason. That's cool. Then, now he's ending it. If you are not a US citizen, like most of you watching me are, this advice remains the same. Our laws may be different, yet the principle of seeking competent advice remains the same. People on the right side operate very similarly throughout the world. So, doesn't matter where you are, these laws, like when he says corporations are good, find something similar. It could be something similar to a corporation. You can go ask a tax advisor what is similar to a corporation where you are. These things are the same. That's why the rich get richer and the poor get poorer, right? They know the thing. Now, this is the end of chapter 9. It's also the end of part 2 of this book. And part 2, the part 2 of this book, he had named it, Be the Bank, Not the Banker. We've covered it. He's trying to teach us. He's teaching us how to have cash so we can operate like a bank. So part 3 will be how to become a successful B and I. All of you who keep putting comments, you want to be in the B and I, this is it. And you are almost getting there. We are almost finishing this book. So how to become a successful B and I will be, we'll start on that video, number 8 and 9. For me, he said something that I wanted to mention there. Because he said that USA changed some laws to make the banks bigger. In fact, we found it where I am here in Virginia. It affected the small banks so much that they couldn't do anything. Now they started merging also. Like the small, they are merging to become big to compete with the big banks. When you hear the banks here in America, Bank of America, Wells Fargo, Capital One, they are big, they are huge. Like Bank of America is everywhere. Like right here, if I'm driving on the road, I find Bank of America, another Bank of America, another Bank of America, another Bank of America, and it's in the whole of America. And they expand. When you see like where you are, and you see these ATM cards having Visa, those are American companies. They expand throughout the world. So they are huge. But what he said was that because before, I remember when I used to be in Uganda, we used to know the local branch manager. For those of you in Uganda, Centenary Bank in Osaka. Because he could come to your shop and see, oh, you have this, he could decide who to loan money to. Like they could say, okay, you have this. I remember the guy who used to go to people's places and he said, okay, the store is there. You can see that you are not eating the money, right? It's there. So he could give you to use in your business. But now what he was saying, that you cannot take advantage of those local banks because right now, if I go to a bank, like by now I don't go to a bank to borrow, but if I did, when you go there, they don't talk to you like, oh, I know you. They just put your number. Here it's called the credit score is what matters. The credit score, in fact, I'm going to take a little moment on this for those who are interested. The credit score will determine whether you borrow money in America or you won't. It's not just about borrowing anything. Get a job. Some people check to see your credit score. Whatever you want to do, they check your credit score because it shows that you're a credit-worthy person. Instead of going to a neighbor or a friend to ask, oh, how is this person? They check your credit score because everything runs like that. But let me tell you something. So the bank will say yes or no. Even if you know this person and they're your friend and they're bank manager, they cannot help you if your score is bad or if you don't have enough income. So they'll say, okay, you want to borrow $10,000, you have to have a credit score of 700 or your income has to be at least 50,000 a year. Like that. So once they put in the numbers and the system spits out the name, he said it spits out. He said no or yes. So there's no control. The manager cannot help you. It's a system. So now, for those of you who are interested, how do you get these scores? The score is America is based. Number one, every person in America, if you are there and you are a legal person, you are there legally, you have a social security number. So that social security number tracks everything you do. Now, if you say that you don't borrow, you won't have a good credit score. It's because they put when you are borrowing money, they attach everything to your social security number. So as you keep borrowing and paying, borrowing and paying, borrowing and paying, that's how you get a good number or a bad number. If you miss a payment, you have to pay the payment on time. You have to make it, if they say the first of the month, you better pay by the first of the month. By that, if you bring out the second of the month, it's late. If it's late, they put a late fee and they put a mark on your credit score. There's things that there are people who specialize in teaching you scores and how they get bad and good. So, but that's what happened. So, like for us, especially Muslim here in USA, you say, I don't like to borrow. I don't want to pay interest. I don't borrow. Guess what happened to you? You don't have a credit score. Now you want to rent an apartment, they check the score. Everything you want to do, they check the score. So people are forced to borrow, but what you do, you pay it off. Like when they give you a credit card, people get credit card just to get the score, to have a record. So when they say, okay, when you use like $500 a month, the statement comes and says, I went out of this just to explain it. Hopefully someone is benefiting. When the bill comes, you use $500 on your credit card, they'll say, oh, pay 30. So because we're trying to avoid interest as a Muslim, if your principle is not to pay interest, you pay all of it. You pay all of it. Don't leave a balance. And then you end up with a very good score. Because most people pay just some of it. They don't pay all of it. So you pay all of it off so you don't have loans. You pay, but you are using this credit card just to build credit. Because without credit, you will suffer. You will suffer. You cannot buy anything. You cannot, like people want to give you a job, they will check your score because that's how they know you are trusted. If you are trusted to pay off things, these loans, then you're a trusted person. I don't know why they say that. At least financially, you're trusted. But generally, a person who is principled pays off their bills. But if you're not, then they will find everything. You hear people in bankruptcy and stuff like that. That number, the Social Security number, is tracking all that. So they put it in. It shows everything about you. That's how they do it. Okay. Hopefully that helped. And the number, like the local manager, your friend, they will not help you. Once your numbers are bad, they're bad. They will not take you. Maybe they'll figure out a way. Maybe they know some way of helping you, but the system is going to spit out your name, like he said. What do you think about this whole thing? Like I always end them, I say, take very good care of yourself. Take very good care of your families. Take very good care of your health. Very good care of your health. Please leave a comment. Please like the video. Remember those links. There, you can get a book. You can get the audio free. You can find all the ones I finished. Starting from number 1, pin comment. Take a step to a better you. Bye-bye.